Hey, it's ODB, and I've got an unboxing for you today, so thanks for checking out the channel. Please consider subscribing. So let's jump right into this. I may not have the biggest or hardly any video retro or current video game system. However, over the years, I've been a big fan of Nintendo. In fact, I sold pretty much my collection many years ago thinking, hey, I've moved on from this stuff, only to wish that I hadn't, because you guys know I love the 80s and 90s. The Switch is awesome. I know it's one of the best selling consoles of all time. And I'm a big supporter of the Nintendo Online. Whether you love it or hate it, you pay an annual fee and then you're given access to the catalog. My son even recently let me know, as well as my nephew, that you could pay a little extra. It's like a notch up, and you can get extra games, including the N64. So it's pretty cool. I'm curious to see how far that catalog eventually grows, and I'm always curious to see what games they've added. Now, the experience, I'm kind of old school with this, is good. However, I really enjoy the original controllers. So I'm going to show you guys a few that I purchased over the course of time, and I'm going to unbox the brand new ones that I just purchased that Nintendo makes. So let's get into it now. Now, I'm going to show you just a quick insert here of my display case, and I have one of my old Nintendo controllers in it. Actually, one that was retroed a few years ago. And of course, you know, if you listen to the podcast or check out this channel, I love the 80s, I love the 90s like many of you do. And this classic controller is awesome. I remember the day that my parents and I convinced them to go to Walmart, and they bought the Nintendo Entertainment System back in, I would say, probably 86 for me. Remember, I was in grade school, and we cut a deal, and they went and got it, so I appreciate them doing that. We played the heck out of this. Now, again, I have since sold my original system that I had. I've acquired others since then, and this controller to me is iconic. Many of you grew up playing with this similar style controller. Now, the one I have here has, I don't know, it seems like it's a longer cord than I remember. And on the back, some of the historians might be able to chime in. It says NES-004. So maybe I have forgotten how long these cords are, or this was one that had a longer cord. But this is for the original, and it works really, really well. I do need to clean it up some. Now, over the course of time, there's been a couple of companies, including 8-Bit Do, I believe is how you pronounce it. And I have been a sucker for going and purchasing their products. Now, the one challenge I've had with these is, and it's probably user experience, I've really struggled sometimes to connect these to said device. So, for instance, the Switch. And I would spend a good amount of time, I would update these, and I would just have challenges. More than likely, it was the Switch, because I think I had an early version of it. I was one of the guys, I think, that pre-ordered it, so it's probably an older model. But I love using these old controllers, but I've just had challenges over the course of time, and these just end up in a bin, and I haven't been using them. Now, when Nintendo came out with their classic, I believe they referred to it as, console, you had the option to go to your local big box retailer or online, and you could purchase these controllers right here. I believe it came with at least one, if not two, and these were pretty cool because you had that original style, and you just had the little bit different plug that plugged into the front of that classic system. This happens to be one that I ended up purchasing, and I've never opened it, only because I didn't need it. I think I either had to, or we just never played two-player. But this is what the box looked like, and again, the nostalgia piece of it, I thought it was pretty cool. This reminded me of being a kid, picking these up, and of course, utilizing these back in the day. Now, the one challenge I had was I did not pick up the classic when it was available. So I think they sold out and they would replenish them. And I kind of got antsy, and I bought a used, actually a refurbished one from GameStop. So it didn't come with the original box and things like that with the retro classic system. What ended up happening with mine is I've struggled because it just stopped working, unfortunately. So I need to contact Nintendo and maybe get that resolved. I did since purchase the SNES, which I enjoy playing, but unfortunately I haven't been able to kind of relive some of the memories on it as much because it hasn't been working. Now, the last thing before we jump into this box is the Wii, and I think the Wii U. Over the course of time, I've ended up with different games on it, And it's so awesome to me to be able to sit down, turn on a system, and just play the games, including Super Mario 3, which is one of my favorite all-time games. The challenge I have with my original systems that I own is the cartridges, I can't get them to always work. So I probably need to take it apart and clean. And I've heard if you replace the reader in there where you put the cartridges in, sometimes you'll end up with a challenge because you would imagine the parts that you replace it with maybe aren't as good as the original. So my son and I and nephew will sometimes spend more time trying to get Tecmo Bowl or just the various games to work versus the amount of time that we end up playing them. So that's why I loved the classic system. It was easy. And then, of course, now with the Switch, you have access to some of the catalog. Let's take a look at the controllers I just purchased, including the N64 controller. Okay, let's cut this bad boy open. So this just arrived a little while ago, and I'm pretty bad about not opening things when I first get them. Not that I buy a lot of stuff, but I'll tend to just maybe forget about it. But I've been excited about this. And basically, from Nintendo, I have these two brown boxes that showed up. Now, I'll show some close-ups as well. Maybe some of the B-roll footage here, but what I want to do is cut into these now and get these out. Now, they're packaged pretty well. As you can imagine, people want to purchase things online like I did, and one of the key things is you want your stuff to arrive with it working correctly. Now, I will say over the course of time, I've had the issue with the Switch controllers, the Joy-Cons, I believe they're called, and I had contacted Nintendo over the course of time, and I think both of them have been repaired or fixed or replaced. They have since continued to have a issue with them, so I need to look into getting those repaired. If anybody out there, if you happen to know, if I can simply contact them, please let me know. All right, maybe I'll figure this out. So basically, I just flapped open the one side, and what I was hoping was basically you've got the Nintendo packaging, right? So that's what I had assumed, and basically here's what you're left with. Now with these two guys, basically they're official Nintendo controllers for the NES, and they're wireless. So I thought to myself, playing some of these retro games, including the Game Boy games, which I love to play on the TV, I'm going to have that old school experience that I had as a child utilizing these awesome controllers. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut into the other box. Now in my Google feed, what essentially happened is, the things I'm into, Google will kind of market or feed you news articles about said items. And this item here was actually what posted in my feed. It was one of the tech sites I visit, and it essentially was saying, hey, Nintendo has restocked the N64 controller, and oh, by the way, it's exclusive to the Nintendo Online subscribers, right, for that. So I thought to myself, well, let me take a look and see how much it is. And of course, this is what I saw online. And I thought to myself, the last few articles I've seen, by the time I clicked on the site, Nintendo was already sold out. So these do apparently tend to go pretty quick. Now, I had an N64. That was also a system I had. Still had the box, let everything go. I wish I wouldn't have. But these controllers, I do believe, and some of you can confirm, they originally had challenges too, and you had to repair different things. But I felt assured that this being a new school controller from Nintendo, I should be good to go. So there you have it. This is what it looks like. I'll show you some B-roll in the end before we finish this video up. Let me know what you guys think. Would you have purchased these two or this single controller? I know I'm super excited. It's Friday. I'm getting ready to play some old school games, and hopefully these sync up super easy, which I assume they will. If they don't, I'll be pulling my hair out, asking my son to help. All right, so now let's open these bad boys up, and then I'll show you some B-roll footage at the end before we peace out. Definitely appreciate your support. Consider leaving an emoji, even if it's just a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. So pretty easy to slide this out. We've got the clear piece in here, which is going to be for the front. You got your two controllers. Flap those. You can see right here. slide some of this back together. Both controllers are in plastic packaging. Simple. And this is exactly what I was expecting in terms of the controllers. They've got some controls up here, but on the back, I'll show some of this as well. Closer up. Let me know what you guys think. If you own these and you like them, let me know. I'm going to open the N64 now. You got the plastic piece in the front. Throw that down there. There you go. Looks like it's going to lift right out, and it does. Now, my understanding, I'm not going to go over too much of the technical side of this, but I understand the Rumble Pack does work for those games that support it. I don't know how many Rumble Pack games are online currently. And if we dive back in here, we do have the USB-C cable. So I'll typically keep these cables, although I have tons of these at the house, I'll usually keep these with said device. And if I look here, made in China, it doesn't necessarily indicate, yeah, there you go. You got the Nintendo on there. So just like I think the Switch has the same one. All right, so in closing, before I do the B-roll footage, I want to just tell you again, this cable is going to be used to charge right here in the port for the N64 controller. It took me a second. I'm a little slow when it comes to some of this newer stuff, but basically kind of slick. These controllers, you might ask, hey, are these rechargeable? Absolutely. You would imagine they are. They just slide in, and you would basically charge these via charging the Switch. Pretty slick setup, and I'm super stoked. So let me show you some B-roll footage, a little bit close-up stuff, and again, please like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Leave an emoji, thumbs up, as a comment if you can. Let's